Hey there, Bass Fox. Good to see you here today. Thanks for joining us. And today we're going to have a look at the expression pedal used alongside the Darkglass Anagram. I'm using it connected directly to the expression input in the back, which is also the effects return. And you have to configure that. So let's real quick swap presets here, start fresh, right? And we're going to go to device settings over here where it says audio and expression, where it says here effects loop expression. This is where you choose if you're going to use a stereo send and return, in which case you can't use the return input as an expression input. So as you see, the expression area here on the screen says inactive. So you have to choose insert and expression, right? Where the effects send becomes an insert cable. So the tip, probably the tip of the TRS cable sends audio and the ring receives it back. So you can use an insert type cable, which is stereo on one end and 2 mono on the other. You can use that to loop in external mono effects. If you need to use mono or stereo send with stereo return, then you have to use the expression input as an effects return, and then you can't use it for expression. So you have to choose insert an expression on the third option over here, right? Now the effects loop mono or stereo selection becomes inactive, and you see the word calibrate in the expression section, right? Now there's been some talk about the compatibility of pedals with the Darkglass Anagram, and they're coming out very soon with their own expression pedal, which looks like a collaboration with Hot Tone. So it looks a lot like that little orange Hot Tone pedal, but it's going to be branded Anagram. And what they're saying is that that has a RTS setting, which is what the Anagram expects, right? And that means ring tip sleeve rather than TRS, which is tip ring sleeve. So it's an inverted polarity between the tip and the ring, right? Now, a lot of pedals have that already. A lot of pretty cheap pedals have that already. So I got this from Amazon, this little nectar thing. I haven't found it anymore. Maybe in your region they still sell them, or they'll come back in stock where I live. But the important thing here is this little switch in the back here where you can switch between tip ring sleeve and sleeve tip ring, right? And a lot of them have this. I have the M Audio. That's what I'm using today. This one also has an M Audio or other switch over here. I don't know which is which, but the main thing here is if you calibrate, when you hit calibrate here, it asks you to put the pedal in the heel down position and then press next, and then heel up position and finish calibration. So now my pedal is calibrated, right? Now if you notice that somehow it's acting strange, maybe you have the wrong polarity, and then you switch that little switch in the bottom there and do a calibration again and see if that works better for you, right? I think the way I have it right now, which is an other, so not M Audio, is working well. So let's have a look at the binding, right, for the foot switch. Already I'm in preset and chain here. When I move the foot switch, you see a little plus here on the screen that you can then touch and select a block to bind it to. So as simple as that. Just once you have a pedal connected and it's calibrated, just moving the pedal already opens a little possibility of binding for it. So let's make a little patch to test out some of the new expression pedal blocks that Anagram recently released, right? So first, as usual, especially because today I'm using kind of a noisy bass. This is my Yamaha Samurai from around the year 2000. And it's single coils. They're pretty low output, pretty noisy. Well, not that noisy, but it's a little bit noisy, especially if you use one of the pickups, not the other. Anyway, we're going to use as always, if you've seen my videos, I always put a noise gate on there. It's just going to cut out that hum or hiss when you're not playing, right? And it'll come back in when you're playing. That's just nice to have in the beginning of the chain. We're going to save this preset as Bass Fox EXP. All right, so we have the noise gate on there. Now, there are 3 new blocks that are expression. You can use the expression for anything. You can just bind it to anything. But we're going to start with the ones that are meant to be used as expression pedals. Now, one of them is the wah-wah, the other one is the volume, and the other one is the pitch, right? So where are they? Are they going to be in an expression pedal section? No, they're each where they belong as far as their category. So, for example, the wah-wah is a filter, right? The wah-wah pedal is filtering the frequencies of your sound. So that's going to be in EQ, filters, and dynamics. And it's at the very end. So right now, with the current firmware, all the expression blocks are at the end of their category. So we can choose a wah-wah over here, and it asks, do I want to bind it to my pedal? It detects that I have a pedal in there and asks me to bind or cancel. And I say, well, yeah, bind it, please, right? So now, when I move the expression pedal, you no longer get that little plus there to bind it on whatever you want. You see wow position, right? Now, this is going to sound really boring, right? Not really a proper, like, fun wah sound. Because the whole preset is super plain. We need to give it something, right? So what we can do is first we're gonna use a compressor, or actually a harmonic booster. I think this bass needs a little boost anyway, so I'm gonna put the character almost all the way and give it a good bit of boost. Right, and over here the output, I can see how close to maximum that is. We probably don't want it that close, right? Because we're still gonna want to use other things, right? So the next thing would be a compressor. So in EQ, filters, and dynamics, we can choose, almost always use the lumino or the limiter. Let's use the buzz compressor one time. And we'll keep saving this preset as we go. Now we want that wah-wah after these guys, because the wah-wah is a filter, and the filter is always more perceptible and more effective, more interesting, more fun when it's filtering something that is rich in upper harmonics. If you throw a sine wave on there, you won't really hear it. You'll hear more of a change of volume rather than a frequency sweep. So already, in fact, maybe we even want an amplifier giving the sound a little bit of grit, right, before. So on top of the harmonic booster, we can go ahead. I've been liking to use the isobrick, the clean one, but with some gain, right? So it's not super distorted, but it's got a little bit of grit on it, right? And now we move the wah-wah to after that, okay? So let's play a little bit. You can make that more extreme by adding, for example, a fuzz. So if I go to overdrive and distortion here and choose the mood 2, put the wah-wah after that, right? And then we get. Now it's practically a synthesizer. Now I can hear some wah, some fuzz bleeding through that filter. So let me see. Output level, bypass at 0, position. Yeah, there's not much to control here. So I'm thinking, what if I use one of our envelope filters? And I've done a video about this already. My wah-wah video talks about this, but we're gonna check that here too. So I'm gonna swap this out for the what is it called? The gravitron, right? And we're going to turn sensitivity all the way down, and we're going to bind the expression pedal to the cutoff frequency of this, right? And we're going to put it on bandpass mode. So let's see, I move my pedal. Now I can hit the plus here, select the gravitron, select the cutoff frequency, and let's try that. So this one is actually filtering out the entire fuzz sound, right? So it sounds like the Darkglass dedicated wah block is doing a little bit of parallel processing. It's letting some of the sound through, right? Now this cuts out all of the low end when you're up. That's what you want if you're doing like a solo thing. That's cool. Now there are two things you can do. One of them is change it to a low pass filter, and that way it'll only cut highs and you keep your low end, right? So what does that sound like? And I think that does the job. The other option is to split off the signal to the bottom row there, filter out the highs, treat that low end how you want it, so that it's always steady, always happening regardless of what you're doing up in the wah-wah range here, in the fuzz wah range, right? So that, and I covered that in my wah-wah video, so you can go check that out there. I don't want to waste too much of your time here today. So right, so now we've seen the wah-wah block, we've seen how to bind the pedal to another parameter in another block that isn't a dedicated expression pedal thing, right? Now here's another thing you can do. Let's turn off the gravitron here. In fact, we want to unbind it too. So what I'll do is just get rid of it and then call it back in, and there might be another way to undo a binding, but this seems quick and simple. We're gonna put the filter back there because I want this preset to reflect the entire experimentation that we're doing today, right? So we're gonna put it there, but we're gonna leave it disabled, right? And we're gonna also disable the mood too. And what we're going to do is raise the gain on the ISO brick. Right, so it's more distorted. And now, and here's you'll understand why in a minute. I'm going to move the compressor to after the amplifier right now. Right? And why am I going to do that? Because now I want to use the expression pedal with a volume swell into the amplifier. Why? Because that'll change how the amplifier is driven, right? Because right now it's got some gain. If I send a very low level, it won't distort. As a level goes up, you get more distortion. So it's going to be a double effect of both volume as well as distortion drive, right? So we're going to add another guy here, and this is going to be, now where's this one, right? Well, it's a volume pedal, So it's affecting dynamics, right? Dynamics is just another word for volume or loudness, although loudness can mean something else. Amplitude, right? Volume, amplitude, dynamics, those are all that universe. So that pedal should be in the dynamics section all the way at the end, and here it is, right? And it's asking me to bind because nothing else is bound to the pedal right now, so we're gonna hit bind. Now we want to move this to right before the amplifier, or maybe even before the harmonic booster, but let's leave it there for now. And now let's hear what this sounds like. Oh, wait a minute. This is still a wah. Oh, EQ filters and dynamics. Sorry. So no, in this case, while I'm not wrong in my logic of saying that a volume pedal is affecting dynamics, right? But it's not processing dynamics in real time. It's really more of a utility because it's just a volume. So it should be in wherever the gain is, right? And where's the gain block in utilities, right? So this is all it is a gain controlled by the foot switch. We're going to bind it, right? And there it is. Sorry about that, folks. So if I keep it kind of low here, as I go up, that drive, see? And that's a really nice sounding swell. What do we do with swells, folks? We add some ambient effects to make something nice. So why don't we do that, right? So I'm going to add a utility here with a split because I want to do like a stereo delay. We're going to go to delays. We're going to choose mod delay, and we're going to put a mod delay on the bottom too. Delays, mod delay, right? And now what we have to do is to make these stereo is add an output block here. So output, and we're going to choose only outputs 1 and 3, right, which are the left side outputs, both XLR and quarter inch. And we're going to go to the bottom row here and add an output there too, and that's in utilities output. And now we'll use the remaining, see the ones we've already used are blocked now, so 2 and 4 are the ones for that one. Now we want to change the subdivision. We want it to be different, so how about quarter note on one of them and quarter note dot on the other one, perhaps quarter note triplet. No, I don't know. We'll hear what it sounds like. So I like it, right? So now listen to this. Well, what's the modulation? Oh, right. Can't really do the modulation. But you can have low pass cutoff of the delay here, right? And we can do that on both of them. A little bit of low pass cutoff just to separate the sound of the delay from the sound of the bass. And now we can do these cool swells that can be like an intro. Using the expression pedal. So it's kind of similar to the wah-wah pedal in the sense that as the volume gets louder, it distorts more, and distortion adds harmonics. So we're actually using additive synthesis in this case, right? We're adding harmonics to the sound by stepping on the pedal, whereas when you're distorting first and using the wah-wah afterwards, you're subtracting. So that's subtractive synthesis, right? Mami, estoy acabando de grabar y ya voy contigo, ¿va? Right. Now, did we have to use that block? No, we could have not used the block. We could have simply bound the pedal to maybe the boost here on the harmonic booster, or maybe to the gain of the ISO brick itself. So that would have had a similar effect, right? But I'm not sure it goes all the way to 0. And maybe you don't want to go all the way to top gain at the top of the pedal switch, right? So this allows you to have a maximum setting already on the amp and use the pedal to sweep only until that spot. Right? Cool. So let's have a look at the pitch one, okay? So we're gonna erase this guy, only to put it back in, right? Because we want it to be unbound. So utilities, volume, don't bind it, cancel, right? And so the pitch should probably be at the very beginning, because that'll reduce any latency. Okay, so we're gonna create a pitch block over here. Where is that? Modulation and pitch, obviously, right? Modulation and pitch, and as it's a pedal block, it should be at the very end, and there it is. It's red, just like a whammy should be, and we're gonna move that to right after the noise suppressor, right? And there we go. Okay, why don't we do real quick, we're gonna mute those delays, right? And we can bind that to a switch too, so that we can use a foot switch. But what I'm probably gonna do is have 3 scenes at the end of this, representing the 3 different effects. So the one with the volume is the one that's gonna have the delays, right? The pitch one, I think, is just like this. It's perfect. Let's look at the pitch shift settings here, and you can go up to 2 octaves maximum, right? And you have all these intervals up or down, right? So it's not every interval. You can't go a third or anything like that. That's what I mean. Why? They should just have it there on that menu, any interval that you could possibly want. And it should go up to 3 octaves, why not? That's the mono neon whammy does that. This should do as well. But anyway, I'm sure they'll get there. And then the shift amount is what you are controlling with the foot switch, right? So you can do it like a dive bomb if you put it down an octave, for example, right? So you get kind of a synth portamento kind of a sound if you do this. I'm enjoying this. So at first I was somebody asked me already to do a video trying to use the existing pitch block, but that one moves incrementally in half steps. This one is actually smooth. Here's a fifth, right? So So what happens if you want to continue to hear your fundamental and add the pitch? Well, then you have to split it, right? And we've already split. We put the split after all of that stuff. For this, we'd have to put it under, and we can't do like dual splits. It doesn't work. Like even if we try to add another split block, it's not going to let us. Split is blacked out, see? But I'll just tell you, that's what you do. You would put a split right before that pitch, and then treat the sound after the split however you want it. Actually, we could do this. We could just move that split over here. So maybe our split, okay. So let's do something that I wouldn't normally do. We'll put the pitch actually after here, after the amp and the harmonic booster, right? So normally I would use the pitch first, right? But in this case, I think it's doing fine with the latency. There's a lot of processing power in this pedal. So we'll use the split right at the beginning. That way we can use it both with the volume swell, right, and the delays. But now what we need to do is create a replica of our signal chain here. So that's the harmonic booster and the ISO brick need to happen before the mod delay, right? Otherwise, that output is going to be poor compared to the other one, and we don't want that. So we want the amps and cabs, ISO brick. We just want to make sure that it's at the same setting. So the top one has gain at 7.3, so this one has to have gain at 7.3 as well. There we go. And we want the harmonic booster. So that's over here. And if I remember correctly, well, first it goes before all of this, right? Both of these go before. And the harmonic booster, we had character at like 8.5, and we had quite a bit of boost. Let's have a quick look just to make sure. Boost is 6.4, character 8. So boost at 6.4 and character at 8, right? Okay, so now the volume swell has to be before the split. We're gonna put it right there, right? So and the pitch, right, the pitch only needs to happen, but it can be here. It can be right after the split, actually. It doesn't need to be after the preamp and amp, right? So, and the wah is only going to exist on the top row, and that's that guy over there. Now we can hear both the fundamental and the fifth above, right? I like it. And you can use the fuzz only on the fifth there, that's like a guitar. And you can fire your rhythm guitarist. Wow, that's super cool. I love it. All right, so I think this is the preset. I think you get the idea, right, of how to bind and the different things you can do. You can change the delay time, for example, with your foot switch. You can do foot. I keep saying foot switch. I mean expression pedal, right? So let's create a couple of scenes here. Right, so this is one scene. Let's go to name, chain, bindings. Oh, no. Here, this is where we change it to scenes. So this first scene is our pitch scene. Right. Now, we're going to control only active scene, correct? We'll go to the next scene. And on this one, we're going to disable this guy. Oh, and how do we do the binding now? Do I need to change bindings here? Right, scene B, expression. Can I change it? Bound parameter. We can change the bound parameter. Yes. So we can go. We're gonna make this one the volume. Right now it's this volume. So that means we're gonna turn off the fuzz, and we're gonna turn on the delays. Right, the top delay and the bottom delay. Okay, so here we go. Excellent. All right, so this is this scene right here. Let's save it, right? We go to the first scene, and this is, oh no. I guess the binding is attached to the preset, not to the scene. Oh. So we're really gonna have to make 3 separate presets, right? But let's just continue what we're doing here. And we're gonna go to the 3rd scene, right? And this one, so second scene has the volume swell and ping pong delay. Right, and the next one is the one with the wah-wah. So on this one, we want to enable the, we want to disable the pitch, disable the volume, enable the, I always want to call it chiquitín. It looks like it says chiquitín, but it's gravitron because it's got shadows from the knobs over the name. All right, and we're gonna go to bindings, right? Move the pedal, touch that, change the bound parameter to the cutoff frequency of the wah, right? All right, and that's the gravitron frequency. And that's the one. That's the preset, right? We don't want the delays on that one. We definitely want the mood. So it's wah-wah on one side and straight on the other. That way you give your PA engineer or your recording engineer the non-WAD recording as well as the WAD recording, which can be very useful during mixdown. Point here is not to have them left and right though, is to have them on separate channels to be used both in mono. So let me do a little solo with this one and say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Bass Fox. Feel the vibration. Hit like, subscribe, comment below, watch other videos. Welcome.